Welcome to the Tiger's Den. This is the voice of Cheryl, and I am Toothless Tiger. If you would you please hit the like, share, subscribe button, and leave a comment. I greatly appreciate you.
This video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. There's no malice or ill intent from the content creator. This is a public service announcement from Toothless Tiger, #NotMe. I will lead the charge in an attempt to put an end to the herd mentality of cyberbullying, stalking, and the harassment of all people, especially me, a member of a protected group, age 64. Disabilities, many. Gender, full-life woman. Ethnicity, more American. Nationality, Asiatic, indigenous to the land. Religion, Islam. Degree of knowledge, I, self-law, am master. To all of you who continue to discussing me, thank you. I appreciate you. This means I'm more interesting than you are. A tiger, when wounded, still fights like a tiger. So convict YouTube cult leader, the Dawn and minions, let's break it down to you like a second grader. Our apologies to the second grade. Even when toothless, it still bites. So remember where you are on the food chain. At the end of this matter, and this is the end of this matter, what all of you think of me is really none of my business. So remember in the song, we shall overcome. We shall overcome in the self-destruction of each other. So please like, share, join, and subscribe. Please share.
Greetings. I hope you guys enjoyed my new
This
intro,
video is for
and
entertainment and educational purposes only.
let me
There's no
cut that
malice or
off.
ill intent from the content creator.
I have that on loop, and I need to
This
cut
is a
it off.
public service.
Here we go. I want to thank everybody for joining me this evening. I'm very excited about my new intro, and I'm very excited about my public service announcement. And it came right on time. I'm going to start this off with a little humor. It is funny to me how one particular content creator who gave me a no apology said that he would never mention my name, and I guess calling me all kinds of names is not mentioning my name, said that he would leave me alone. But the stalking is really frightening. And if I didn't laugh at some of the things that's happening to me, I would be left in tears. I mean, all the time. It's bad enough to know that you're being bullied and you're being stalked. But when, ridiculous things start to happen, this weekend I had, you could call it a imperfect human moment. I want to thank Sky for my beautiful, beautiful introduction and the beautiful artwork that she did for me. And I did that not because I was threatened that someone was going to copyright strike me. I did it because it's time to move on. And when I say move on, I mean with better energy. And the old just seemed to have negative energy attached to it. So we have been working on this for approximately 3 weeks. But I was trying to send her a copy of what had been done for me by Gotti. And unfortunately, some kind of way, it went to Gotti as well. Now, this just happened 2 days ago. And now I look on YouTube and there's a video of the Don saying that we messy women just won't leave Gotti alone. It had nothing to do with Gotti. And I'm not emailing her every day. So it's just amazing. I guess you telegram, and the old saying is you tell a nigga. And then I guess she has to tell the Don Skinny. And then he has to make a video about it. And perhaps that's what gets the haters mad. And maybe they'll give a lot of money. I don't know. But as far as me, I have to do what I have to do. A lot of people tell me, you should just leave it alone. You shouldn't say anything. You shouldn't talk about it. Get back to teaching what we like. Well, I'm happy you like it. That's why I came out here. But do know that I have to take care of me first before I can even assist you. And I have to talk about it. Thank you, Armando. Let's put some respect on that.
Your face. You got to remove the excess water. Now she's coming
This
down.
is how you do it. Thank you. That is hot, Armando. It really is. And I did Sky like I do all creatives. I just give them what I like and tell them, I love the piano and tell them what I like. And she put her magic on it. And it's so me. And, and it was just like the creativeness of what I believe to be Gotti. I don't know who made it, but I told her what I liked and she gave me what I liked. And Sky did equally as well. So I am very pleased with any creative that used their imagination to bring my dream to fruition. That's what life is all about. But it takes what? TV shows, 30 minutes. Newscasts, 30 minutes long. Tutorials, 30 minutes long. Podcasts, 30 minutes long. Skinny, the Don, 30 minutes long to talk about what? A mistake? You know, my son told me us elderly people need to keep our butts off of this technology. And I thought I did everything right. I tried to erase all of the email addresses and everything, but for some reason, Gotti received the emails that I was forwarding. So that is unfortunate, and never was I intending to mess with her. That happened. And that's what that was. But for a man to make a video of that, it took her 2 months before she apologized to Miss 504 because of something I told her, which deemed me as being messy. But it took her 2 minutes, I guess, to forward the emails to the Don for him to make videos out of it. I have to be me at all times. And since you all don't know me, I've introduced me to you. I'm very transparent. And I talk about things that bothers me. If you're the people that keeps it in and sweeps it under the rug, I'm happy for you. That's not me. And if I talk about what's happening to me in order for me to function bothers you, then I say, don't look at me, because you're going to get me every time I come on this camera. I'm going to give you all that I have. I'm not going to give you something I don't have. So I also need to establish, when I came out on YouTube, I came out with the idea to share me and my journey on what I learned as I was trying to figure out who we were before we were slaves. So I didn't come here to make up anything. I didn't come here to try to change anything. I just came with the knowledge that I have and that I acquire as I continue to read and research. And that's what I was hoping, what my message would get to you as individuals, to perhaps start reading, because that's something that we don't do a lot of. Perhaps you can start researching and come up with your own conclusion and see if it comes to what I came up with or what we've been taught. It's all about love. And I think that's where we're missing a lot. Love, one for another. As human beings, not, robots, human beings. We used to show love and respect and honor to each other. Even when we didn't know each other by name, we did that. I want to thank everybody that's here in the chat and in the bushes and that's streaming me live. I'd like to thank you all. It is hard to believe that a man with 50,000 subscribers who said he wouldn't talk to anybody who had less than 50,000 would spend so much time on a woman, 64 years old, disabled, Asiatic, more American, study Islam, the knowledge. I, self, law, am master. Belief in something much greater than myself. And I am tied to the source. I am grateful to be here before you and that you would listen to me and visit me and stay with me. That means a lot. You all don't know it. I'm not trying to be the richest person on YouTube. I'm not trying to be a millionaire on YouTube. I'm just trying to be me and share me with you. On a daily basis, I do a lot. I help a lot of people. I advocate for people. That's what I do. Right in this little old bedroom, I have a telephone and I have a computer and I have a voice. And I use it to help many of people. And I'm grateful that they allow me to do that. I don't do what everybody do. I don't say it the way they say it. Not me. But I am me. And I know me. And I love me. Uncle Fester and all. By the way, it is Festus supernova vacation, in case you didn't know it. And while you say that you're happy that Skinny can take my artwork, well, I think you better go read the copyright laws. And Skinny, you need to do anything that you're big enough to do. truly you should. But inciting death on me and my family, telling people to come and do harm to us, I think that's the wrong thing to do. But you keep doing it. Soon you'll get a visit. Soon you'll get a visit. Gotti. I don't understand you. You were such a kind person, I thought. But you're not. And everybody's singing your praises and said that I did something to you. I did nothing to you. I was a friend to you. You were never a friend to me. Messy, 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 messy. Why would you send Skinny those emails unless it was to incite mess? You see, it doesn't work. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. It won't work. Whether you guys believe it or not, I promise you, it won't work because I don't have any ill intentions toward any of you. Thank you, Uncle Suge. Let me put some respect on that.
Your face. You got to remove the excess water. Now she's coming
This
out.
is how you do it. Thank you. Every Sunday, I come here wondering, what can I share with my people? And when I say my people, I'm talking about all people. Because I believe we only have one race, and that's the human race. I don't believe racism is what separates us. Not since I've started studying. It's called hegemony. And it is to divide us, and to conquer us. But together, if we put our minds and our love one for another together, I guarantee you we could change the way this world operates. A lot of people laugh and make fun about Asiatic. Where'd she get that from? That's not in the history books. No, it's not. That's the point. They didn't teach us our history. We're tribal people. You know, the ones that they call the Indians? Those are what you call nom de gears. And perhaps you might want to get a pen and paper and write some of these things down and then just go look them up for yourself. Nom de guerre are tags that they give us, brand names that they give us so that we can fight amongst each other. We are one people. As I come from the Holy Quran, Circle 7, and this one was written by Noble Drew Ali. He explains to us, Asiatic, and hear me good. The divine origin of the Asiatic nations. The fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America need to learn to love instead of hate, and to know of their higher self and lower self. This is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca for teaching and instructing all Moorish Americans, etc. The key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations. The Moorish, who were the ancient Moabites and the founders of the holy city of Mecca. The Egyptians, who are the Hamitites and of the direct descendants of Mizraim, and Arabians, the seed of Hagar, Japanese and Chinese. The Hindus of India, the descendants of the ancient Canaanites, Hittites, and Moabites from the land of Canaan. The Asiatic nations and countries in North, South, and Central America, the Moorish Americans and Mexicans in North America, Brazilians, Argentinians, and Chileans in South America, Colombians, Nicaraguans, and the native of San Salvador in Central America, etc. All of these are Muslims. The Turks are the true descendants of Hagar, who are the chief protectors of the Islamic creed of Mecca, beginning from Muhammad I, the founder of the uniting of Islam, by the command of the great universal God, Allah. A lot of people do not understand that Allah is feminine. This world is based on a matriarchal system. Unfortunately, we were turned over to a patriarchal system in 325, but we are truly matriarchal. And you can see that if you look at nature. True religion is the study of nature and how man is in harmony with nature. We're out of harmony. We're out of sync. That's why we have so many problems. That's why we have health problems, some that we've never heard of before. That's part of the reason. And that's why we have a people problem where we refuse to learn of one another. It's all about customs and culture. And unfortunately, we don't know ours. But I have a hashtag and it's called Not Me. That's my hashtag. And that's my new shirt that I'm promoting, Not Me. And what that means is I won't be bullied. I will come here every Sunday, and I've changed to Wednesdays to share me with you. For as long as you guys will have me, I will do that. And that, I promise you, it has been a pleasure and a joy to be able to share the things that I've learned and to know that there's so many people that is really interested in what I have to say. I don't know a whole lot, and I'm not into metaphysics, and I can't explain you the cosmos, but I know cosmology is very important. I know energy is very important. And sometimes we have to learn to read other people's energy so we'll know how to, I would say, matriculate through these YouTube streets. Because what it seems like as you're a fan just looking at YouTube is totally different when you become a content creator and you're trying to create and you're trying to give to the people. It becomes different. And it's really different if it looks like that you're doing a little bit better than someone else. I had no idea about numbers and things of that nature, but they're important. And I guess we should pay attention to them. All I wanted to do was just put out a message so that people could get back to reading and learning and knowing that we're worthy of every good thing. We really are. But we have to learn who we are as individuals. And we got to love ourselves as individuals before we can give it and share it with others. And there are so many people that I found that don't love themselves. And they'll do anything for what they call money. And money is not that important. It's family. It's family. And although my family is being made fun of and talked about, it makes no difference because we know who we are and we're here for each other. And I am grateful for the family that I was born into. It's really something. My sisters and brothers and I, we're all now senior citizens. I'm the baby girl and I have a baby brother. And so he's 62 and I'm 64. But we're, the seniors now for our family. We have no living aunts and uncles. They've all passed away, and our parents have passed away. But we have first cousins, second cousins, third cousins, and we're pretty close. And we have, relationships with each other, meaning we visit one another. We talk on the phone with one another if we can't visit. Because a lot of us, and like I said, I am the baby girl of my family. I'm also the baby girl of my first cousins. And my brother at 62 is the baby boy. So, we're seniors ourselves. Salute. And I try to get away from that word salute. I try to use greeting now. Not for you. I'm talking for me. So I said salute, but I meant to say greetings.
Just to remove the excess water. Now she's coming
This
out.
is how you do it. Thank you. And in case you're wondering why you see me coming out of the shower, it's really funny. Gilbert did it for, I think, when he was making fun of Kwame. And so I decided to do it because I've heard the Don say that I can't wash my own ass and I'm bedridden. So I decided when I went to celebrate my 64th birthday, my sister blessed me with suite, presidential suite for the weekend of October 29th. And I thought I would do that just to make fun of myself and them. And one of the guys, TY, who don't want me mentioning his name, but they can talk about my name as much as they like, he made a little drop of me coming out of the shower. And then he said I got angry about it, which I didn't. I thought it was great since I made it. And so I thought, well, you know what? I was talking to someone and they told me, boy, won't you do it yourself? And I know who the someone is, but I'm not going to mention their name. And I said, you know what? That's a great idea. And so that's why you see that. And I'm going to respect this, L. Thank you.
Your face. Just to remove the excess water. Now she's coming out.
This is how you do it. Thank you. And that is my sister who is narrating my shower. I want to talk tonight about the Freedmen's Bureau. I don't know if you all are aware of the Freedmen's Bureau, but I know that when you heard I don't know who this is texting me, but they really could stop. But the Freedmen's Bureau, I know you heard in one of Martin Luther King's speeches when he talked about they took agriculture away from us and, then they started making land grants to, their people and giving them our land. Well, that money basically came from the Freedmen's Bureau. And the Freedmen's Bureau was a place that supposedly an act that went in place to help all of the slaves that were set free by Abraham Lincoln. And then they had us putting our money in those banks. And of course, they closed it down. And so I want to just talk a little bit about that because a lot of us really don't know any of our history. We got so little when we were in school. That's why I always talk about the animal husbandry training that we received in school. It's called docility training for animals. They taught us all, raise your hand before you do anything, get in a single file line, walk with your hands by your side. And so all we've done was followed instructions as if we were animals. They didn't really teach us the things that we really need to be able to function in a free society, like economics and how they use it, politics and what governs politics, civics. If we were taught civics, we would understand politics and we wouldn't talk so much out of our emotions. We would talk out of knowledge. Unfortunately, we use a lot of emotion to express ourselves, and we have no knowledge on what we're talking about. Thank you for the Cash App. I greatly appreciate you.
Your face. Just to remove the excess water. Now she's coming
This
down.
is how you do it. Thank you. And y'all just give me a little time. I'm going to find another way to do that so that I'm not always interrupting what I'm saying. But right now, if you would just suffer me in my folly, I would greatly appreciate it. I really would. So, the Freedmen's Bureau is what I'm going to talk about. And I could definitely share my screen. Y'all tell me in the chat what y'all think about my beautiful new introduction. I love that jazzy sound, and that piano just drives me up the wall. Tell me what you guys think about it in the chat. Okay. The Freedmen's Bureau, formerly known as the Bureau of Refugees, Freedmen, and Abandoned Lands, was established in 1865 by Congress to help millions of former black slaves and poor whites in the South in the aftermath of the Civil War. The Freedmen's Bureau provided food, housing, and medical aid, established schools, and offered legal assistance. It also attempted to settle former slaves on land confiscated or abandoned during the war. However, the Bureau was prevented from fully carrying out its programs due to a shortage of funds and personnel, along with the politics of race and Reconstruction. Creation of the Freedmen's Bureau. The Freedmen's Bureau was established by an act of Congress on March 3rd, 1865, 2 months before Confederate General Robert E. Lee surrendered to the Union's Ulysses S. Grant and Appomattox Courthouse, Virginia, effectively ending the Civil War. Intended as a temporary agency to last the duration of the war and 1 year afterward, the Bureau was placed under the authority of the War Department, and the majority of its original employees were Civil War soldiers. Did you know Howard University, a historically all-black school in Washington, D.C., was established in 1867 and named for Oliver Howard, who was not black, by the way, one of its founders and the head of the Freedmen's Bureau. He served as the university's president from 1869 to 1874. Oliver Otis Howard, a Union general, was appointed commissioner of the Bureau in May 1865. Howard, a Maine native who attended Bowdoin College and the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, reportedly had been planning to become a minister when the Civil War broke out. During the war, Howard, nicknamed the Christian General, fought in major battles, including Antietam and Gettysburg. Antietam, I guess that's how you say that, and Gettysburg, and lost an arm in the Battle of Fair Oaks in 1862. Reconstruction. America's Reconstruction era was a turbulent time as the nation struggled with how to rebuild the South and transition the 4 million newly freed blacks from slavery to a free labor society. There was no tradition of government responsibility for a huge refugee population and no bureaucracy to administer a large welfare employment. And land reform program, according to the Freedmen's Bureau and Reconstruction, edited by Paul Cimbala and Randall Miller. Congress and the Army and the Freedmen's Bureau were groping in the dark. They created the precedents. From the start, the Bureau faced resistance from a variety of sources, including many white Southerners. Another leading opponent was President Andrew Johnson, who assumed office in April 1865 following the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. When Congress introduced a bill in February 1866 to extend the Bureau's tenure and give it new legal powers, Johnson vetoed the proposed legislation on the grounds that it interfered with states' rights, gave preference to one group of citizens over another, and would impose a huge financial burden on the federal government, among other issues. Reconstruction, a timeline of the post-Civil War era. How the Black Codes limited African American progress after the Civil War. In July of the same year, Congress overrode the president's veto and passed a revised version of the bill. However, Johnson became embroiled in a bitter fight with the radical Republicans in Congress, who viewed the president's Reconstruction policies as too lenient, and the Freedmen's Bureau suffered as a result. Johnson's actions were included pardoning many former Confederates and restoring their land, as well as removing Bureau employees he thought were too sympathetic to blacks, served to undermine the Bureau's authority. The Bureau's mission was further muddled by the fact that even among the agency's supporters in Congress and its own personnel, there was disagreement over what type of assistance the government should provide and for how long. Freedmen's Bureau successes and failures. The Freedmen's Bureau was organized into districts covering the 11 former rebel states, the border states of Maryland, Kentucky, and West Virginia, and Washington, D.C. Each district was headed by an assistant commissioner. The Bureau's achievements varied from one location to another and from one agent to the next. Over its course of existence, the Bureau was underfunded and understaffed with just 900 agents at its peak. Bureau agents who acted essentially as social workers and were frequently the only federal representatives in Southern communities were subjected to ridicule and violence from whites, including terrorist organizations such as the Ku Klux Klan, who viewed the agents as interfering in local affairs by trying to assist blacks. While some agents were corrupt or incompetent, others were hardworking and brave people who made significant contributions. During its years of operation, the Freedmen's Bureau fed millions of people, built hospitals, and provided medical aid, negotiated labor contracts for ex-slaves, and settled labor disputes. It also helped former slaves legalize marriages and locate lost relatives and assisted Black veterans. The Bureau also was instrumental in building thousands of schools for Blacks and helped to found such schools as Howard University in Washington, D.C., Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee, and Hampton University in Hampton, Virginia. The Bureau frequently worked in conjunction with the American Missionary Association and other private charity organizations. Additionally, the Bureau tried with little success to promote land redistribution. However, most of the confiscated and abandoned Confederate land was eventually restored to the original owners, so there was little opportunity for Black land ownership, which was seen as a means to success in society. Freedmen's Bureau's demise. In the summer of 1872, Congress, responding in part to pressure from white Southerners, dismantled the Freedmen's Bureau. Since that time, historians have debated the agency's effectiveness. A lack of funding, coupled with the politics of race and Reconstruction, meant that the Bureau was not able to carry out all of its initiatives, and it failed to provide long term protection for Blacks or ensure any real measure of racial equality. However, the Bureau's efforts did signal the introduction of the federal government into issues of social welfare and labor relations. As noted in the Freedmen's Bureau and Reconstruction, the Bureau helped awaken Americans to the promise of freedom, and for a time, the Bureau's physical presence in the South made palpable to many citizens the abstract principles of equal access to the law and free labor. Now, that Freedmen's Bureau that we're talking of, it was actually supposed to be, remember when they said that we were supposed to have the 40 acres and the mule? That's what that Freedmen's Bureau was all about. That 40 acres and the mule that we never received. And it's unfortunate that we're still trying to get 40 acres and a mule when we are the heirs to the world's largest estate and we own it all. What we fail to realize is what was stolen from us is our actual right to be. And that is our unalienable rights given to us by the Creator when we were born. It's called birthrights. And what happened to us when we failed at the Alhambra in 1492 at Al-Andalus, which is now known as Spain, when we fell, a lot of us converted to Christianity because we thought that was going to make us human again. Because when we fell, we became not human. Unfortunately, that didn't work. Even though we converted, we were still treated as slaves. And then they came over and invaded the lands that we already possessed here at Amexem, which most of us now know as the Americas. Amexem, which is the furthest west of Africa. There was a time when all the landmass was together, and it was known as Asia, the whole landmass. Africa got the name Africa because the person that conquered that area put its name on that land. And that's why it's called Africa. But this also is known as Africa. It is the empire of Morocco. And we don't know this history. So when we start hearing it, it sounds crazy and far-fetched. But if you start researching, you will see that it's true. A lot of this information, I promise you, is in the Library of Congress. And you don't even have to leave home to go to the Library of Congress today with the internet. That's one of the reasons why they want to censor the internet. And that's one of the reasons why we can't really talk in depth about our history here on the internet. Number one, we don't own the platform. Number two, nobody wants us to know the truth. Because if we knew the truth, then we would do something about it. And the way you would do something about it is become knowledgeable and start loving one another and work in love and unity. You do not have to operate in hate. And, war, fighting, all you're doing is just destroying more lives. You're not helping the ones that's left behind. You're taking somebody away. When you can do that in so many other ways, it's called using your intellect. That's why we are different from the animals of the field or of the air. But I swear sometimes if we just sit back and take a look at them, it'll seem like that they're really more intelligent than us. Because the way they handle business, they do what needs to be done and they move on. Of course, we as human beings, no, we have to hurt people. We have to make them sweat. We have to have everybody else laugh at them. And then we have a crowd of people who get with people who don't even know what's going on, and they just join in just to be a part of something. But if you know who you are, I guarantee you the stuff that we allow to go on, like the music that we listen to, and Lord knows I listen to the rap music too. I love the bumping and the music, and I love even some of the lyrics. But we listen to us destroy each other every day in our music, in our entertainment, in our movies, in our television shows, in our schools. There was a time when they didn't want to educate us, and I've read from the book, and I'll go back to the book about the education of the Black from 1860 to, I believe it's 1935. But we have in the schools, when I was growing up, all of the teachers looked like me. Now, these babies are growing up in our community, none of the teachers look like them. They all are young European girls, mostly coming out of college, and they're teaching our babies nothing. Not all. See, we can't ever put it on all, because there are some people that are called to be teachers no matter what, and they're going to give their all to whoever will listen. Whoever will listen, they will give their all. Those people are dedicated. That's why you know it's not about the color of your skin. It's a system that we're trapped in. And because of the color of your skin determines how you get treated. You know, whether they want to be helpful or not. There were many people that were European that helped us as a people. And they were called nigger lovers. Many of them were killed. We don't get to hear their stories. There are so many people in this world today that's coming up missing. We have women that come up missing every day, but so do they. All people have these issues. Our issue is magnified to keep us divided. But we're not the only ones doing the things that we're doing. We're just the ones that they put out front. I used to wonder, how is it that everybody in the world hated Black people? And that's before I knew that Black was dead in the eyes of the law. Now I've been looking at this guy, and he says that Black is ancient and it was way back when. And we know that everything came out of the dark, and, the word was spoken and light appeared. But civilly dead you are. Legally dead you are. And you might would ask yourself, how do you know that, Cheryl? Bye, Cassandra. See you later. Let me tell you how I know that. And what I'm going to do right now is just go off camera so that I can pull up this dictionary and tell you what I'm trying to say. Let me open up the dictionary first. Where are you, dictionary? There you are. Let me try to pull this back up. There I am. Now let me go over here. Let's start looking at some stuff the way it is seen. Come on now. There we go. We're getting there. I'm getting there. Sometimes, when you be trying to pull stuff down, it goes too fast or it goes too slow. Okay, I was trying to get color first, but I can't get color. So since I can't get color, let me just get what I can get. Okay. See if I can make that a little big. Nah, it's too big. Okay. Now let me come back. Well, you guys can hear me. Okay, what I want you to see is the word colored. Colored by common usage in America. This term in such phrases as colored persons, the colored race, colored men, and the like is used to designate Negroes or persons of the African race, including all persons of mixed blood descended from Negro ancestry. One good thing about the dictionary, the Black's Law Dictionary, and all law dictionaries, it gives you case law. And these are the older editions. If you start getting the new editions, then they're taking out the case law and making it very hard for you to make your case. But the older books give you case law when you look up words. And so they give you Collinsville, Oklahoma State Hospital, and then they give you where you can find it. And then they have Theophanis versus Theophanis, and it gives you where you can find it. But where a state constitution provided for separate schools for the white and colored races, the term white race was held to be limited to the Caucasian race, and the term colored races to embrace all other races. And that's Rice v. Gong Moon, and it shows you where you can find it. Listen to this, because this is the most important part that I want you to understand. It says, and here I am, it has also been held that there is no legal, technical signification to the phrase colored person, which the courts are bound judicially to know. And then that is Pasaka versus Das. And that tells you that is in 31 Texas 74. So basically what they're telling you is the courts do not have to recognize you, colored person, period, because you're civilly dead. That means in the eyes of the law, you don't exist. Whether people believe that or not, it's not left up to belief. It is written so that you may know. And many of us, we don't want to believe what our eyes see. We want to believe a fairy tale, a story that somebody told us anthropomorphically. A lot of the stories that we learn by way of how you teach a child. And we never ever differentiate from being treated or taught like a child. We never take our position as adults, and we allow others to treat us like children. And that's what the system does. It's up to us as individuals to seek knowledge, especially knowledge that we hear people talk about, Because, see, there are some things you don't even have an idea that you don't know. Because you don't know what you don't know. But some conversations you hear, and you should, in somewhere in your mind, say, well, I don't know nothing about that. You know, why I can't speak on this subject? I wasn't taught that in school. Maybe I need to teach myself. But life has us bogged down. We're working so hard. Most of us are working more hours than we've ever worked in our lives just to maintain. Everything is going up but salaries. All of the bills are going up. Our health is getting worse. And we wonder, why is this happening to us? Amalia is telling us some history about the general. She said he graduated at age 19 and went on to West Point, a diligent student. He ranked fourth in his class of 46. Howard was a genius for his time. Amalia does a lot of reading and studying. Thank you, Amalia. I have learned if it is not bring others down or demeaning others, we are not interested. People, we need to wake up. And you got, yeah, that is true. Okay, redo. People love to bring others down. And if it's us, not brings others down. Boy, I think y'all be really wanting to get this story out, and you just write anything. Redo correction. You gonna redo it about 50 times, look like. But I get the gist of what you're saying. And basically what she's saying is, if we're not tearing each other down and laughing and talking about each other, we're not interested. And that's true for some of us. But some of us really want to know. And we really want to make a difference. Because we all were born with a purpose. And for some of these people who are just horrible individuals, that's their purpose. Jesus had a Judas. So some of these people are the son of perdition. They have to be the lowlifes that they are, whether they want to be or not. Most want to be because they're living in their purpose. And when you're living in your purpose, all I can say is be true to whoever you are. And if you're true to who you are, then the world will recognize you for your truth. Even if it's not a good truth, the world will recognize you for your truth. Basically, what we need to do as a people, though, is start, and I say start with your family. Just like we have family gatherings and we bring all the good food and we eat real well, I think it would be good for us to get books and have family gatherings and let's read and let's talk about what we got out of what we read. Okay, Troop says the information is well received, however, without power and resources, what can you really do about it, especially when you're simultaneously trying to eat? Well, Troop, we are the fifth largest economy in the world. We as a people, Asiatic people, we could do a lot of things differently. A lot of the extras that we do and a lot of the, let's say we always use Jordan as an example because they are a very high priced, sneaker. But it's a lot of things that we do that we could do differently and we could do collectively as a family. One, we could start, our own businesses. And we do know that we need people to supply us. And then we do know that there has to be a demand for what it is that we want or going to do. A lot of us really do have our own businesses. Some people, where my mom used to have to work as a maid for a living, now you have young people actually starting maid services. and they only work 2 hours, and they charge what my mom used to make in a week. They charge that for the 2 hours, and then they get 4 and 5 houses, and then they hire a couple of their friends, and they're actually out cleaning houses or doing make ready. We have so much talent in our heads that is suppressed by us working so hard. But first, if you learn who you are and what you can do, and then you start learning the law. And what we get basically is the color of law. Brings me to my other subject, the Christian black codes. A lot of the laws today, the statutes, the acts, the municipalities, a lot of those laws are steeped in the Christian black codes. See, a lot of this stuff carries on. We think that, okay, we was in this period, now we passed that period, and now we in this period, and now they come up with this. No, it's the same old thing. It's getting different names in different periods of time, but it's the same old rhetoric. It's the same old thing. Let me see. Truth. I agree with being a collective people. However, most can't even comprehend you, right? And will sell their soul for $1. I agree. Numbers equal power. Yeah, most definitely numbers equal power. And most of them will sell themselves. And that's because of the animal husbandry training that we received. We were trained to be that way. But if it's you with the knowledge that you have, me, someone else, whatever, whoever, some of us just won't go with what they say it's supposed to be. It has to be something different. And that's where you start. When you know, and it's a lot of the young men and women today, they're not buying the stories that we bought. They want to know more. A lot of them are actually researching. A lot of them are actually learning. And some of them want to do. Most of us, we're stuck on the mentality that, you can't do better than me, or you're doing better than me. But it's not about doing better. We look at other cultures. They got their culture from us. That's where they get their customs from. We are the original people. So if we are the original people, then everything that's done had to come from us. And then people went off into different parts of the land and developed their own nations. And from nativity. Nativity comes from the mother. Everything they use metaphorically has to do with vessels and water. And that's because of who we are as a people. But the baby lives inside the mother in the bag full of water, and the umbilical cord gives it life. We all share the same belly button, male or female. It doesn't matter. We all have the same birthmark. That's the belly button, because we all came through a woman. The woman set the government, set the rules, set the tone, up until they changed to a matriarchal system. To the patriarchal system. Everything is matriarchal. All you have to do is look at nature, and you can tell that. We got to get back in our place. See, we're fighting one another, men, woman, thinking that it's us. It's not us. It's a system in place. But who's going to be the person that decide, okay, I don't want to do this no more. Let's try something different. All we have to do is give something a try. Most of us are not willing, but we can give something a try. We can sit down and devise a plan. We can try to work that plan out. It's called setting goals. And, you have long-term goals, you have short-term goals. And if you just tried something, let's just say, I know, Truth, from what you're saying, basically, most of us can't even get together as a family. Somebody's holding on to some old grudges that don't have anything to do with the generation that's here now. It's something that happened 60 or 70 years ago that's been passed down the family, And everybody's looking at each other side eyes, and they don't even know what the thing was about. They just know that that family side didn't like this family side, and they don't trust that family side, so we can't get together. We could change that. It's a decision that one makes. We have to make the decision. And those who don't want to participate, we need to leave them behind because they have a right. See, this is where I think we get confused about rights. We think the right is because everybody's going to choose to do right, but that's not always true. So they have a right not to participate and not to join in and not to be a part of. They have that same right when the success happens and they're left out because it was a choice. A lot of people will do things to you and then they'll come back when it doesn't work the way they want it to work and say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. No, you didn't. You didn't make a mistake. You made a decision and it didn't go your way. So now you want to come back with the mistake. No, it don't work like that. We have to learn, and it took me a very long time, very, very, very long time to learn to say no without feeling guilty about having to say no. We have to learn to say no and not feel guilty about saying no. We have to. You know, there are people, you know how they said everybody's not going to make it into heaven? Everybody's not going to make it because everybody's not going to choose to do what it takes. So we have to realize everybody is not going to want to progress. I found talking to people, most of us don't want to hear the truth because we don't want truth. We'd rather go with the lie. It's easier for those who don't seek truth. But if you seek truth, then you'll go through whatever it is that you find and you'll move on forward and learn from it. That is the way that you really have to live life. A lot of people are really wanting to know something, but then when you tell them what you've learned, then they think that it's crazy, it's far-fetched. You know, there were so many things that I didn't believe when I was growing up because it was what we were taught. But once I went on this journey to find out who were we before we were called slaves, because we had to be something or somebody. Once I started doing that, my mind is open to the possibility of whatever. If aliens, hey, it could be. I don't know. I don't know it all. But I know it all couldn't just started when they told me that it started. And we have trees that are millions of years old. How could they know that if they didn't study it? How could they know that? So we got to open our minds up to the possibility of what we were taught. There is a pastor, his name is Ray Hagins, and he used to be a Pentecostal pastor. He's now a Pan-African pastor, but he uses a circle, and then he tells us this is our mind. And so we have to know that it's things out there that's outside of the circumference of this circle. We have to know that it is things out there that we really don't know. And there is so much we don't know because we were not taught. And then we don't even have the inclination to question. How can you question what you don't know? You can't do that. But there are some of us. You see, our cells have memory. Our cells, our brains, our innermost conscious mind. And then there's a thing that comes to us, and they come in, some people call them downloads. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but there are things that come to you. It's kind of like the deja vu moment. It's kind of like, it's like I've been here before, or like I've done this before, and you hadn't, but I swear it seems so real as if you had. Those are sometimes memories. From where? Is there a possibility? We know that energy never dies. We know that it just changes forms. We know that from science. Some things we want to put belief on when they're actually facts. And then some things we want to make facts that are just belief systems. And belief systems are just that, what you think. And one thing that the oppressor has learned to do very well is if I can get you to believe something, then I can get you to do anything I want you to do. And that's pretty much where we are as a people. But we can go and start researching. I try to put out a book that I read or have read a part of. I don't do it daily, but I try to do it on a daily basis, just in case somebody want to go and start researching for themselves. I started with the Constitution. Many of us, we live here in this country, we have no clue how many articles there are to the Constitution. And we say it doesn't matter, it doesn't mean anything to us. It does, it means everything to us. Also, your state constitution, which is your country's constitution, is very important. That's where your laws come from. That's where your legislature goes into session and make rules for you, whether you agree or not. Most of us, we have, oh, please get out the vote. Get out the vote. What are we voting for and what are we voting on? We don't even know the people that's running. We don't even take the time to read about them, to see who they are, to see if they think like us or if they think differently, to see where they stand on education. We've got to get away from education and get to erudition. That's learning knowledge. Education is a one-way thing. It's kind of like the do as I tell you, not do as I do as I say. And I say you should do this, and this. And I don't dare ask you, what do you think? What would you like to know about? Because you can see things and be inquisitive, but you may not look them up. I think that parents should require their children to read. And I think they should require them to read to them. Not just for the sake of reading, but to see where they are. Now, I don't agree to disagree, but I thought you left a moment ago, Cassandra. I mean, what is your point? I don't understand your point. You have the right to whatever you have the right to. But why are you talking to me is my question. I thought you left a moment ago. And that's what I'm teaching people to search for themselves. They can't research for anybody but themselves. I don't know where you came from. I don't know what your point is, but it makes no sense to me, Cassandra. And I'm going to allow you to say one more thing. And y'all, if she's saying something that's not with what we're talking about, I want her out of the chat because it's not making sense. I don't understand your point. You left how many people ago? And now you're back telling me what your dad taught you. Your dad ain't teach you nothing no different than what I'm saying. Research for yourself. And no, I don't agree to disagree with people. I just disagree. You're right about it. But it's those type things. Here we are talking about being on one accord. And this woman talking about how intelligent she is. Not one time have I questioned the intelligence of anybody listening to me. Who cares how intelligent you are? If you were that intelligent, you wouldn't be having this conversation against what I'm saying. I think you would add to the conversation and not take away from the conversation. I think. Perhaps I'm wrong. Yeah, truth, I did say that. Yeah, she can't distract me, but I know that's how they play these little games. It's so very sad and disheartening. And I look at Taj and he's the Grand Sheik, I included a couple of his videos in the description, as well as Dr. Francis Chris Welsing, that if you ever get a chance, anybody, take a look at them. They're very enlightening. But, you know, they have people that do the same thing. So this is done all over the internet. And anytime we're trying to help each other, we have people that are sent. It's called, back in the day, COINTELPRO. And people sold themselves to sell out the people. But it's all about making the right decisions. And again, I think people should have their children read to them. Number one, to see if the child can read. Number two, to see if the child comprehends what it reads. And then give them material to read so they can read about themselves. You know, we've read enough Jack and Jill Went Up the Hill stories. You know, we need to know who we are. And again, I think most of us don't know how many articles there are to the Constitution. Certainly, we don't have a clue about the number of amendments to the Constitution. But it is very important that we learn the documents that frame this place we call a country. Actually, America is a continent. It is not a country. But that frames this system in which we live. We need to know the documents that were written, and we need to know who wrote them. Because a lot of us have a misconception of who wrote them. And a lot of us think that they don't pertain to us, but they do pertain to us. And Article 6 is very important because we, the Asiatic Moor Americans, set the treaties. And we know that America don't always keep their promise and keep the treaties. But they are real. And the oldest running treaty is the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. That's the oldest. The Treaty of Tripoli. There are so many treaties, and we don't even have, you know, the only concept I had of a treaty back when I was growing up was when I saw the cowboys and Indians on TV, and they would always talk about treaties, but I didn't know what the treaty meant. But the treaty, along with the Constitution, forms the law, the supreme law of the land. And the law of the land is the common law. Most of us have no knowledge of the common law, which is, if I don't harm you and you don't harm me, then no harm is done. We get the color of law, which are all of the articles, the statutes, the acts. Those are the things that we get, and we don't get a fair shake always. But if you start reading them and learning them for yourself, then you can know when you're being treated fairly or when you're being treated unfairly. A lot of things we do as a people is we depend on other people to tell us if it's right or wrong, instead of finding out for ourselves. But I found when I started my journey, once I discovered something, boy, it was so intriguing and so interesting, I had to go to the next step, the next level. A lot of people are on here deceiving people. But we're deceived mainly because why? We're looking for somebody to answer these questions for us. What my job here is to give you keys as to let you know what I did, what others did before me. And then you go out and then you seek and you research and you find and you see if you come up with the same conclusion that I do. Maybe, maybe not. I tell you, it's really, really interesting. And I see Ryan has joined us, and I just love that young man, and the way he parent his boys is just phenomenal. I mean, for today's time, it really blows my mind. I just love it. Asatar is another dad that spends so much quality time with his children. It really warms my heart. It reminds me of my brothers. One thing about my brothers, they are some great dads and granddads. I mean, they are just, they're worth bragging on. You know, they really are. And their children are so blessed to have that one-on-one relationship with their dad. We really don't understand how men are needed in the lives of our children. We really don't understand how impactful that is. And we need positive, not just to be a man. Dad, if you're angry, if you're always causing confusion, then that doesn't help your children. It doesn't. It really puts them in a bad place, because just the voice of a man will change a child in an instant. When they hear that tone that comes out of that man's mouth, it's not much else dad has to say. All he has to do is say, hey, and you can believe a child would jump at attention. Now, give them, according to their age, give them a few seconds and they'll go back to being a child, but they know. And it's amazing how well we know as young children. And we lose that innocence when we start learning docility training. And we start learning around 6 years old. They put us in the system to take away everything that we've made with our parents, everything we bonded and come to know as, you know, our custom. Starting at 6 years old, they start wiping it away. And that's just my take on things. You guys are very welcome. Very welcome. That's just my take on things. You know, it may not be your experience. Maybe you have the greatest teachers wherever you are. Maybe you have the best there is. And I would hope so. But what I've seen since I was in school, and it started changing when my son came around, and now that my grandchildren are here, you hardly find teachers that look like the students in our schools. And when they're in elementary school, they're so afraid of the children. They can't teach them anything. And by the time they get to junior high school, the children start looking good to them. And then by the time they're in high school, they're sleeping with the children. You know, when I was in school, you heard a lot about the coaches probably fooling around with the young ladies, but you didn't hear about the lady teachers fooling around with the young boys. But, you know, in today's time, that's pretty much all that makes the news. And it makes the news. So it's happening throughout the states. Why is that? We need to ask ourselves, why is that? And then a lot of things we put on the parents, and the parents may not be aware. Should they be? Of course. But they may not be. As the young lady said, or was that truth? Most of us are out here working, some of us 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet. But in some of our cases, I think our priorities are off. And the way we spend the money that we make may make a difference. It just might make a difference. I look at other cultures and how they work together as a family unit. And I long for that, because I remember when I was growing up, that's the way we worked as a family unit. All the corner stores were owned by somebody that lived in the neighborhood. You probably went to school or to church with their children and, you know, the family at church. But you knew them because they looked like you. It makes a difference. Now you go into the stores and the people are so cold. They don't even look you in the eye as they take your money. They don't greet you. You know, it's just an exchange. And they make sure that you give them the right amount. but they have no human connection to you. And sometimes that's a bad feeling, when you're going into a store to spend your money and to know that you're going to get treated less than human. It's very disheartening, to say the least. Very disheartening. As I shared with you, colored, I really wanted to share the word color in law so that you can see how they defined it as not being real. It's not real. I'm going to try to see if I can get it. Okay, I got it. And I want to say hello to everybody that's coming in. I'm not trying to ignore you at all. Here it is, color. Okay. Color, an appearance, semblance, or simulacrum as distinguished from that which is real. A prima facie or apparent right. Hence, a deceptive appearance, a plausible, assumed exterior concealing a lack of reality, a disguise, or pretext. And then they go on to tell you about the case law, Railroad Company v. All Free. And then it goes on to say, in pleading, ground of action admitted to subset in the opposite party by the pleading of one of the parties in an action, which is so set out as to be apparently valid, but which is in reality legally insufficient. A term of the ancient rhetoricians and early adopted into language of pleading. It was an apparent or prima facie right, and the meaning of the rule that pleadings in the confession and avoidance should give color was that they should confess the matter adversely alleged to such an extent, at least as to admit some apparent right in the opposite party, which required to be encountered and avoided by the allegation of new matter. Color was either expressed, i.e., inserted in the pleading, or implied, which was naturally inherent in the structure of the pleading. And then it goes on to give you the case law. The word also means the dark color of the skin, showing the presence of Negro blood, and hence is equivalent to African descent or parentage. And then they goes on to give you the case law. It goes on to tell you about the color of authority. That semblance or presumption of authority sustaining the acts of a police officer, which is derived from his apparent title to the officer or from a writ or other process in his hands, apparently valid and regular. And then they give you the case law. And then the color of law is the appearance or semblance without the substance of legal right. State versus Breechler. And then it gives you the law. Color of office, an act unjustly done by the countenance of an office, being grounded upon corruption, to which the office is as a shadow and color. And it gives you the case law. So you see, color is very important when you're dealing with the law. And unfortunately, that's what most of us get. We don't actually get jurisprudence, the science of law, which is what we should get. Unfortunately, we don't. Truth says facts. They act like you a problem because you came to buy something. It's ridiculous out here. Yeah, it is. And it's very disheartening. And that's all we have in our urban cities with, you know, we have so many things that we could be working on together as a people, like the food deserts. And the food deserts is where we don't have the stores that sells, the fresh produce. Most of all of our stores only sell canned goods, and they're overpriced. You're probably paying 3 times as much for one can that you could get at a big market. But unfortunately, that doesn't seem to bother us as a people. And I think another one of our biggest problems as we talk about things to people that can't do anything about it, instead of talking about these issues with the people that makes the difference. And those are the ones that we decide to go to the polls and vote for. And it's very important that we start learning about the people that live in our cities, in our states, in our counties that we're going to be choosing for office. And we understand that the Democrat and the Republican are two wings of the same bird. So we have to understand the system in which we work. And one of the things for us as a people, we don't seem to realize that if you're not funding the individuals that's going into office, they're pretty much not going to have an agenda for you. And that makes sense because you have to go with who feeds you. That's just the way it goes, and it's not about whether you like or dislike them. It's who put you there. It would not be fair to the individual that put you there if they put you there and then you just ignore them and go haywire. You can't do that. Yes, and Dick Gregory says truth. Truth says we vote for the lesser of the two evils, to your point. And Dick Gregory taught us that anytime you go for the lesser of two evils, you pick the evilest of the evil because both are evil. But what we have to do is start participating in the system if we want to see a different system. We have to, just like you belong to our memberships, and if you haven't joined, I would hope that you would consider joining my membership. But just like we belong to memberships and organizations, that's how we have to support the people that we want to carry out our agenda in the state legislature or, Washington, D.C. We must start participating and helping them as they go. It's called grassroots. As they campaign and as they try to get voted into office, we need to start supporting these people. There's no way in the world we should be asking what we're asking of them and we're not supporting them. By the same token, there's no way in the world they should be promising us and then we put our support behind them and then they get there and they don't support us. That then we have the right to call them out. And not only can we call them out, we can bring them out of office. There are steps to everything in this system. This system is based on contract. And contract is something we don't even think about unless we're buying a car or buying a house. But literally, our words commits us to contracts that we don't even realize are contracts. And we need to start understanding how contracts work so that we don't get stuck and caught up in contracts for the rest of our lives that don't have our best interests at heart. I have little videos that I used to make about different things that affect us as a people. And I have one that talks about the adhesive contracts. And those contracts are normally to our detriment because we didn't have a voice in the contract. But a contract is supposed to be not only negotiable, but two people are supposed to be the meeting of the minds, and we supposed to actually write it together because these are the things that we agree upon. But there is a way, even if you did not help compose the contract, that you can actually negotiate and be relieved of a contract. But most of us don't even understand that we have a need to know about contracts because this whole world is ran on contract law. We have contract law, estate law, probate law. Those laws govern how this world is ran. And we have no clue about either one. Not a clue. Yeah, truth, they do. They do move with self-interest. But we all do. See, this is one thing that I realize as human beings. It's nothing wrong with using one another. It's nothing wrong with that. Bill Withers told us that in a song. You know, you just keep on using me till you use me up. It's nothing wrong with using each other. It's the misuse and the abuse that becomes a problem because we're interdependent people. So we need one another for whatever it is that we're trying to do. Although we can stand alone, and there are many a times when we have to walk alone. But we're interdependent, so we need each other to work as a team. We really need that. Even as a family unit, we have to be a team. If not, we'll be divided. And if you're divided, you're what? You're already defeated. You're already. That's correct, truth. Thank you for engaging. You guys are just a great, great chat, and I love that. I love the engagement. It really helps me. I don't always get to see the questions sometimes or the statements, but I really love it when we participate one with another because that's how we do it. Um, I'm going to take this time and ask everybody if they would please hit the like button. I'm trying to get 100 likes per video, if at all possible. To all my people in the bushes, of course, I know my haters are not going to do it, but to all my people in the bushes that don't want to write in the chat, please hit the like button because it really helps. If I get 100 likes, it helps push me into the algorithm and it gets my videos recommended out and it gets other people that can look at the videos. I don't know if you guys all remember or know that I started a new thing now. It's called a conversation. Toothless Tiger presents a conversation. And I've changed my Tuesdays to Wednesdays. And it's the same hour, 7 p.m., but I'll be doing Wednesdays now instead of Tuesdays. And for right now, I'm going to be doing mainly the topic is going to be about cyberbullying, harassment, stalking, because I am truly bullied, harassed, and now I'm being stalked. When I go in other people's chat, then I have Skinny or one of his minions in there reading my comments. They take snapshots of my comments and post it on the community board. They talk about me endlessly, but defy me to say anything about them. And I think that is just absolutely ridiculous. But that comes with the territory, and I will live with that until I don't have to anymore. But I accidentally send some emails to a person that I thought I had wiped their email off of my emails. And if they show the emails, then it will show that. But unfortunately, they got the emails, and now I'm bothering people and sending them emails. No, no, no. Why would I ask you, a person who made my first intro, and I'm trying to get out from under the darkness of you, send you an email asking you to make me another intro? Makes no sense at all. But it took only seconds for her to send that to him, and he make a video about me sending an email, and then there goes the messy and all of this and all of this. No, no, no. I don't talk about these people all the time, but when it's necessary for me to make a statement, I have to make the statement. That's who I am. I could not be me if I was not me. And I don't come on here pretending to be nobody but me. You know, I have the Toothless Tiger name for YouTube, but I am Cheryl Yvette. I am definitely her. And I have no problem in being me at all times because I'm very transparent. I'm very mindful of other people. Whether it sounds like it or look like it or not, I am. I'm telling you I am. It is never my intent to hurt anybody. But make no mistake about it, I don't intend to allow you to hurt me either, no matter who you are and what you stand for. If it's not right, I don't care about it. I have a lot of people leave comments, not a lot, I'm lying, maybe a few, that say, well, you're getting what you deserve. No one deserved what I'm getting. And when I laughed at the other's pain, I didn't see them as who they were. I saw that as mutual combat. Be that as it may, it was still a man attacking women. And this man has attacked many a women. And no one has had the guts to stand up to him for doing that. But two men that I know openly told him he was wrong and called him to task. And then he and a lot of other people tried to put Uncle Suge in the middle. No, Uncle Suge is doing great. He's getting the opportunity of his life. He does not have time for no games on no damn YouTube. Because these people are playing games. But I thank you, Armando Black. I thank you, Asator. I cannot thank you guys enough for being men and standing up for me. I can't thank you enough. I can't thank you, the guys that are in the chat that believe in me and you keep coming back. You renewed your memberships. I can't thank you enough. And I know you guys don't have platforms, but I know that you stand with me and for me. So don't ever think I'm discounting your support and your loyalty to me. It means everything to me. It really does. I want you to know that all of the women who suffered this type of abuse on the internet and who stand with me, I want to thank you. I appreciate you. You don't know how much that means to me. Truth said the free thinkers. That's a terminology I don't use, but I'm going to use it because he said it. The free thinkers. And we do think independently of the herd. Animal husbandry training, remember, that's what I told you about. That's how we were trained as animals. No different than the animals on the farm. We all conform. Look at the head cow. All of the cattle follows the head cow. Look at the horses, even in the wild. You have the one stallion, all of the horses follow the stallion. Animal husbandry training. We were trained to follow the leader. But we don't have to stay in that state of being. We can start thinking independently. we can ask ourselves the question, why am I doing this? Why do I feel the need to be a part of this craziness? Some say you just crazy, lady. You just stupid. You just cause problems. You just messy. But just a day before this person declared war on me, I was everybody's auntie, reminding them of their granny and their mom. It is amazing how overnight I became all of these ugly names. I got women that look like men telling me how to teach women how to give fellatio. I got women who claim to be the baddest people in America. Got a jacket so bad they up there with Al Capone, calling me liars. I just don't understand it. But just before all of this happened, they were with me until the wheels fell off. And they can talk about me and make videos, but I can't even make reference to something that they say. They want me to leave them alone. I'm stalking them, they say. It's amazing. And then the new saying is, I've done nothing to these people. They've even made that a joke. Asatar, imagine sitting in a chat for damn near 2 months while someone made fun of multiple women being molested and not saying a word. Every single person in Skinny Gang has to answer to this. 100, 100. And you're so right, because he made a statement, and the one that he talked about, Gotti, today, he made a statement that's why I was screwed between my thighs, and Sky was screwed in the behind. I just don't see how people can actually, I just don't see how they can go along with that. But they do. And the things that I heard him say about those women, it wasn't like that. It was some terrible stuff, though. I heard some terrible stuff, so I don't want to diminish what I heard. But it's really gone dark. And these people sit there and laugh, and then they give to make the haters mad. And then they say I'm pocket watching, but they are watching every dime I get or don't get, everything that's said and done. And I love that bully proof. So Alicia, hashtag bully proof. I love that. I'm going to start putting that on my description. But I have my beautiful hashtag not me. And my favorite colors are pink and black. And so it's pink and white trimmed in black. And not me. I'm not going to stand for the bullying. I cannot stand for the bullying. Not of me and anyone else. All I can do is my part. And I promise you guys, I'll do my part. And I had one lady to tell me that it seems like I was chastising you guys and trying to get you to flag people. I've never asked anybody to flag anybody in my life. I don't know anything about flagging. I just learned about flagging since I've been flagged. Never thought I'd be talking about anything for someone to flag me, but I've been flagged for privacy. And I've learned about flagging, and I know how to flag today. But you do as your conscience moves you to do. I didn't ask anybody to do anything. I'm grateful for everything anybody does on my behalf. Just listening to me, if I can get you to hit the like button, leave a comment, that means everything to me. Even if you share the video, that's a great thing. But, sometimes you don't even have people to share it with. We would love to share with people, but sometimes people are not into what we're into. And certainly, as Phyllis said earlier, if it's not about tearing somebody down or some mess, then pretty much we as a herd are not interested in it. But there are a lot of us that are sick and tired of the way things are being ran, not only on YouTube, but just in our neighborhoods, just in our state, just in this place we call America. And we are fed up and we really don't know what to do. I try to give a little idea of what you can do, and that's first to start reading. Make sure that you're secure in yourself, because this stuff here, you got to have some real thick skin to face some of the things that I've heard about myself and my family. And to hear this man speak so vilely of my mother, who's been dead for 29 years, by the way, and he has no knowledge of, and he doesn't give a damn about his mother, because I've never heard him mention her, period, good, bad, or indifferent. So I would say that he has no love for her, and she's alive, and he's doing this kind of stuff, and she certainly has no love for him, for her to get wind of, because somebody has told her about his behavior. And I know that our grown children do what they choose to do, but because of what we instill in them as babies, they tend to still respect and love us as adults. Dark Knight. Let me see. I learned from what those people did to Kyrie and Ye. I think they say yay. We as men need to start emphasizing what we teach our family, as well as give our family in this pursuit of grinding to make the so-called richer. Yeah, that's a good one, Dark Knight. That's a good one. So, Alicia, that's a good one. This will follow these people for the rest of their lives, having the chance to change something major, but doing nothing. That is so true. And it's all because the deception of a woman who they want to hold in high regard. But if they can't see the deception in her, and they can't, then they'll never see all of this and how it comes to play. All of what they're saying about me being missing. She did that to Gotti. She did that to Gotti. No, Gotti did that to herself when she deceived Miss 504. And she only confessed when Miss 504 let her know she had the video. Yeah, she did that to herself. Then everybody got mad. Why did I wait 2 months? Well, Miss 504 wasn't my friend. That's why I waited. But they never questioned why did Gotti wait 2 months. And she took the picture. Never questioned why would she video her friend. But maybe they are naive. I don't know what you call it. I'm going to say deceived, because I just don't believe everybody over there is as bad as Skinny and Gotti. I think there are quite a few, but I don't believe everybody is. And some of the ones who used to call me Annie and who was so nice say some of the rudest things I've seen. Some of them write some of the rudest things, and it's unbelievable. And then they come and write the rudest things on my community board, and they expect me not to respond. I don't respond to everything. I really don't. But trust me, I will respond. I will respond. It's getting close to the 2-hour mark, and I am going to get close to saying good night. I'm grateful for everybody who has entered the Christmas giveaway, December giveaway. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to see if I can try to download the wheel and see if we can do it that way. If not, I'll just write all the names down and we'll pick on the 7th. That's how we're going to do it. But the cutoff is the 5th. I'm almost about ready to cut it off today. But the cutoff is the 5th, and the drawing is going to be the 7th. um, good luck to everybody that entered. And thank you all for starting to put, whether you have a massage envy in your city or not. That really helps me because, the massage envy needs to be only for people with the massage envy, but the $25 two giveaways, they're for everybody. But I don't want to have the massage envy in that pile with those people, and then, you don't have one in your city. So that's why I really needed that. I really needed that differentiation because it makes a difference as to how the winner is. And so I thank everybody for participating. It doesn't cost anything to participate. All you have to do is just, well, you can look at the video for me and like it and leave a comment. That's something you can do. But all you have to do is comment, enter, and you're in. Doesn't cost you a dime. Maybe a little of your time, but no monies. I'm going to get ready to play my public service announcement one more time. I hope you guys like it. It's on TikTok, and if you like TikTok, go and give it a like. I would appreciate that. And I'm going to say greetings to everybody. I'm so glad you guys came and spent this time with me. It's been a joy. Even though Skinny decided to go live at the same time that I went live, we actually got up to about 70 people in the chat, and that's fantastic. That's something that I normally don't get. I used to get that in the beginning, but I'm very excited about it, and I'm so glad for you that stayed with me as you always do. I can't thank you enough. And I, I was going to talk a little bit about the Christian Black Codes, but we're getting closer to the 2 hour mark, so I'll save that so we can have something for next Sunday. Again, if you guys have anything that you want me to talk about based on the fact of our history and what you think I might know, and I can share with you if I know it or not, I'm more than willing to do that. But, I kind of get up here and talk off the cuff on Sundays, but, I'm trying to balance everything. And, I guess we wouldn't be anything without them, putting the little sex box things in here. But I know Maria's taking care of that for me, so I don't have to worry about that. And if not Maria, I know Elle or Vera got it. At least I believe they do. And if not, then I do. But I'm going to play that, and I want you guys to please enjoy the new intro outro that Sky Atticus did for me. If you don't know Sky Atticus, she's a beautiful young lady, and she's a gamer. So a lot of times on her show, she's playing games, and she is hilarious. She's also very, very, very deep. Very deep. She knows a lot about some of everything. Cosmology. She knows a lot about gematria. She knows a lot about our life, the past lives and the lives, when you move on. She's just very, very knowledgeable. She can sing. She plays instruments. She's just absolutely refreshing. She gets deep sometimes. And I think that she is truly good if you've just been inundated with craziness and you just don't know what to do and where to go on the internet. She's definitely a good place to go. So I would say, if you would, please, if you haven't seen Sky Atticus Jones is her YouTube name, and go and support her. She has not been monetized, and it's basically because of the subjects that she speak on. And we do know that we are sometimes shadow banned, and I'm grateful to be monetized. But, at any given time, they're censoring us here on YouTube. So at any given time, that could go away. You just never know. But good thing that I'm not in it for the money. But as long as I can get money, I will receive it. And I thank you all for the donations that you gave. All I ask is that you keep coming back. And I'm going to play my public service announcement. And then I'm going to go out with my new intro, outro that she gave me. So here we go. You guys, please have a safe and productive week. Until Wednesday, I'm leaving the tiger's den.
Announcement from Toothless Tiger. Hashtag not me. I will lead the charge in an attempt to put an end to the herd mentality of cyberbullying, stalking, and the harassment of all people, especially me, a member of a protected group. Age, 64. Disabilities, many. Gender, full life woman. Ethnicity, more American. Nationality, Asiatic, indigenous to the land. Religion, Islam. Degree of knowledge, I, self-law, am master. To all of you who continue to discussing me, thank you. I appreciate you. This means I'm more interesting than you are. A tiger, when wounded, still fights like a tiger. So convict YouTube cult leader, the Dawn and minions, let's break it down to you like a second grader. Our apologies to the second grade. Even when toothless, it still bites. So remember where you are on the food chain. At the end of this matter, and this is the end of this matter, what all of you think of me is really none of my business. So remember in the song, we shall overcome. We shall overcome in the self-destruction of each other. So please like, share, join, and subscribe. Please share.
Greetings. Welcome to the Tiger's Den. This is the voice of Cheryl, and I am Toothless Tiger. If you would you please hit the like, share, subscribe button, and leave a comment. I greatly appreciate you.